So today's Brain Breaker, episode 2, deuces, like my son does, deuces, is all about the DSCR loans. However, we're going to talk first about, I've made this post saying how the investment banks and Wall Street and these securitization pools are requiring most DSCR loans, depending on the state, to now be put inside of a corp or an LLC. Whereas in the past, you could get it in your personal name as well. And someone must know something that we don't know about an economic downturn coming. The reality of it is when downturns happen, we have the ability to fight foreclosures. And based on recent rulings in the DSCR space, which is a hybrid between both personal residential loans and commercial investment property loans, they're preparing to come and foreclose. Now, if you don't miss a payment, you're not going to have an issue. But if you do miss a payment, your rate goes potentially up to 18 or 24% on a default rate. So I make this post, and it's like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning when I make it, and it gets like 2,000 hits, 3,000 hits, 10,000 hits. And I just checked, it's December 4th right now. And I've got almost 38,000 hits on this video that I just put out there, hundreds of comments, hundreds of messages, hundreds and hundreds of shares. I picked up like 50 new clients just from making this video post. Picked up like 5 or 6 clients that have like 6 to 10 investment properties. So that's how it comes about. And other people have messaged me like, with all walks of life, sharing how I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about, making this up, all the way to like, hey man, this happened to me. You're right. You're spot on. Right. And I only share the truth. I share what I see, my vision. You can go back and see everything I've shared and posted over the years. I'm pretty right most of the time, just from having a pulse on the market. So the DSCR loan, the debt service coverage ratio loan, I actually closed the first DSCR loan in June of 2017 with Sprout Mortgage. For those of you who don't know, you can Google Sprout Mortgage. They no longer exist, right? We're like the founding father of the DSCR loan, alternative financing space, in 2016, 17-ish, thereabout. And look, the reality of it is something can always go wrong. And all the data and economics that have been analyzed and tweaked to make these loans safer, the reality is you're lending somebody money based off of an asset, and yes, their credit, some money in the bank, and relying on the tenant or tenants to pay their rent in order for the landlord to collect the money and pay the mortgage, right? So if the tenant stops paying, 9 out of 10 times people taking DSCR loans are self-employed or unemployed, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call them. They don't have W-2 income to fall back on. And this is the bigger picture of what's going on in the commercial real estate investment market is banks and lenders have lent to properties and assets-based lending, they call it. Well, that's based on a human paying a rent for that asset to be of value. And if you have 10 properties and 5 of your tenants don't pay because they get laid off or there's a death or a divorce or a life extenuating circumstance, they're not going to pay the rent. And most landlords don't have 6 months reserves of mortgage payments for all the properties. And that's when things blow up. So the reality of it is Wall Street and the investment firms and banks are bracing for impact. It's going to be directly tied to the labor markets. If people are going to be getting laid off, which I have friends text me almost every week. People I know text me every week like, hey, just got laid off. Hey, just got laid off. Company's downsizing. Didn't get a bonus. All these things. It leads us into a scary market. And things can happen in a blink of an eye. So you're hearing here first now that when this DSCR market tightens, right now it's just too good to be true. I said the DSCR loan was great back in 2017. I also said it was going to blow up at some point. Here we are 9 years later, approaching 2026. Now it's the hottest product in the market, which means that we're at the end of the cycle. We are absolutely at the end of the market cycle. Now, for myself, who knows the market in the industry, chaos means tremendous, crazy opportunity. There are always going to be great deals in the market to make a lot of money. But the problem is when everyone has become or thinks they're an expert because they made money for 3 years or 5 years or 6 years while the market's literally gone straight up and rates have gone straight down, the market humbles us very quickly. So I think understanding what you're getting into, I think the DSCR loan still is a great product if you manage it and utilize it the correct way, and you don't over leverage yourself and put yourself in a position where if your tenant doesn't pay, you can't pay your mortgage. Because I'm telling you for a fact, these lenders aren't playing. They hire run-of-the-mill foreclosing law firms. It's going to cost you a fortune if you default on a DSCR loan. I'm telling you that from firsthand experience. I've seen it. I've fought with my own personal corporate litigation attorneys against some of the biggest banks and players in the industry, and I have the receipts to prove it. So highly recommend that you stick to your plan, stick to your path. Don't take unnecessary risk. Pay attention to what I'm saying now because you're hearing it here first. While everyone's cheering, celebrating how much money they're making. Don't forget, the residential mortgage banking industry didn't make money for 3 years. And the only reason why they're making money now is because they've incorporated alternative financing, hard money loans, bridge loans, fix and flip loans, DSCR loans, all these non-QM loans, but they're still not making money technically on residential mortgages because the market's got that thin. The margins have gotten that small, that compressed. So the question is, do you want to, be a part of the future in history, or do you want to keep doing things the way things have always been done? I think you should aim to be a part of the future, right? Because you have the opportunity right now, if you position yourself right, to withstand what's coming in the market by becoming the actual expert in the market and not just pushing a loan product to a transaction. Focus on the human, focus on the relationship, focus on the individual, focus on trust, transparency. And if you hear something from me that you've never heard before, rather than coming at me and attacking me, which you're welcome to, I don't hit back anymore, I welcome you to do that from an educational standpoint because I have the proof and the pulse on the market in order to back that up. So if you're borrowing, feel free to check out directdscr.com. We do offer direct DSCR loans through a variety of lenders, the best lenders in the marketplace. Most of our lenders do them direct. We also have broker conduit, packages in order to get you the lowest rate or highest leverage in most states. And as always, this episode, like everything else, powered by Reverify, sponsored by Loan Links. We want to make sure that you have access to all different types of capital sources in the market, whether it's ground up construction, fix and flip, bridge, hard money, true hard money, foreclosure bailout, or home equity lines of credit. So hopefully you'll learn something from this. Don't come at me. Check your local and state laws. See what lenders are requiring your title to be vested in, how it's held, whether it's corporation or LLC. Some still allow personal name, but understand if lenders are requiring you to put in an LLC or a corp and you default, you're very likely to have an expensive legal battle. So plan ahead. If you know anybody in default, feel free to reach out anytime. We're always here to make sure that good people stay out of harm's way. Stay tuned for next week's episode, episode 3, Brain Breaker.
That's good.
Good? Simple, right?
Yeah, easy peasy.
I like that. I like this, dude. I like it a lot.